What's happening, y'all? This is your boy, the Big Ugly Man Doll, and this is my show, Big Ugly Opinion. I was watching a video the other day with Vivek Ramaswamy. He was talking to, I guess her name is Abby Phillips, and he had a message he was trying to get across, and she did everything she could to cut him off and make him not tell whatever it was he was trying to tell. Go ahead and check it out. It was about the January 6th insurrection, as they've been calling it. There's a lot of controversy surrounding that topic, and all my man wanted to do was drop a little bit of knowledge, and this woman, for some reason, kept not letting him say it, and I can't quite understand why. You watch the video, maybe you'll figure it out.
Let me ask you about something that you said at the debate last week. You used the phrase inside job to describe what happened on January 6th. The next day, Capitol rioter Alan Hostetter highlighted your comments at his sentencing. He is going to prison for 11 years. Hostetter threatened members of Congress. He brought a hatchet, knives, pepper spray, stun batons, tactical gear to the U.S. Capitol. Are you concerned that a convicted felon like that is now promoting your comments in court?
So here's my concern, Abby, and I want to tell you guys where I'm at. If you had told me, it's close to 3 years ago that January 6, 2021 happened. If you had told me 3 years ago, back when I was a biotech CEO, not steeped in this world, I was just consuming passive media, but was focused on my world of developing medicines. If you had told me that January 6 was in any way an inside job, the subject of government entrapment, I would have told you that was crazy talk.
Now, I'm not going to cut it off too much because he's going to get enough of that while he's trying to give his whole spiel. But I just wanted to say, the look on his face say this man is about to cook.
Fringe conspiracy theory nonsense. I can tell you now, having gone somewhat deep in this, it's not. I mean, the reality is this. We do have a government, first of all, we have to acknowledge, that has lied to us systematically over the last several years about the origin of COVID-19, about the Hunter Biden laptop that we were told was false by 51 CIA experts and otherwise before we now know that it was true. You can go straight down the list, the Trump-Russia disinformation collusion hoax, all of it. Now we come to January 6th. The reality is we know that there were federal law enforcement agents in that field. We don't know how many. I think it's shameful. If I may finish this answer,
well, let me
this
just.
is really important.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you here because
I know this, the establishment doesn't approve of this message. I know
that there were federal agents.
We should be able to talk about this.
You're saying that there were federal agents.
This is important to talk about.
You are saying there were federal agents in the crowd on January 6th.
Yep.
There is no evidence that there were federal agents in the crowd on January 6th.
So why, before Congress, when pressed on what the number was, they didn't say there were none? They just couldn't say how many there were.
So you're saying that that you have not seen any evidence that there were.
We've seen multiple informants suggesting that there were. We know people were FBI informants who were asked.
Is there any evidence?
May I just finish this, and then you can come back to question me.
Let me clarify.
I know it's very uncomfortable for you.
I'm going to clarify my question.
I know this is an uncomfortable issue for many people, but we have to do the truth.
I'm going to clarify my question because I want to make sure that you understand what I'm asking.
I understand this deeply, and I told you I was with you 3 years ago. I'm not there now.
Where is the evidence?
Yes.
Where is the evidence that the government had a plot, an inside job?
But no, I'm going to tell you what an inside job is, because I'm not
violence on January 6th.
I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth. I'm going to put my words in my mouth. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that.
Where is the evidence that the government was involved in planning or executing January 6th?
So I'm going to give you hard facts. And if I may, Abby, I know this is going to be a little uncomfortable, but we're going to go through this, and you can push back on it after that. And you can push back on that. And let's do this fairly. Why did they suppress footage of now what's been released, 200 hours of footage of shooting rubber bullets into that crowd, shooting tear gas into that crowd? You didn't see that before. You saw what the response was to that. Now you see footage coming out of actually rolling out the red carpet for Capitol Police allowing people in.
Again,
right through the front door.
The vast majority of the footage
evidence should have been released before, Abby.
Mr. Ramaswamy, the vast majority of the footage shows police officers being overrun by violent rioters. That's
I'm going to give you some hard facts. So here's what entrapment is.
Cherry pick.
I'm not cherry picking. If I may finish, Abby. If I may finish, Abby. I'm not cherry picking.
Examples.
To the contrary. To the contrary. You know who cherry picked? You know who cherry picked? The government.
That is what happened.
The government cherry picked 12 hours of footage. When there was 200 hours of footage. The cherry picking was the government, not me. Release the whole thing. And let me just finish one thing too, because this is super important as a topic.
So
I think this is a civil libertarian issue of our time. Gretchen Whitmer's kidnapping. I want to be really clear on this, because it's the same issue in the same FBI, same even part of the FBI. 3 people who were in an alleged plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer were acquitted at the end of trial because it was entrapment. That is, government agents put them up to do something they otherwise wouldn't have done. They gave them credit cards with spending limits of up to $5,000, encouraged them to buy munitions, plan something they weren't otherwise willing to plan. So much so, and I want people at home to know this, especially CNN viewers to know this, is that one of the jurors went to those defendants and apologized afterwards, gave him a hug, apologized, seeing what the government had put a poor guy up to who had to go to some Mexican restaurant across the street to get hot water. These people were exploited with credit cards up to $5,000, FBI agents putting them up to a kidnapping plot that we were told was true but was entrapment. Same thing with the Capitol Police, people letting them in freely. Many of those people then being charged.
Ramaswamy, look,
the government cannot put you up to do something and then charge you for it. That's wrong.
I don't want to have
to the left or right.
I don't want to have to interrupt you. I really don't. But I don't want you to mislead the audience here or
I'm not.
home.
I think they've been misled by the mainstream media.
Well. It looked to me like he was saying things that she didn't want said. And first of all, she's an awful interviewer, very awful. She's clearly biased. She's got preconceived notions, and I believe she's likely a puppet of whoever wanted this narrative that he's explaining to be spread, and they wanted it to stay there. That's my belief of her. I think she's awful. She's just as bad at asking a question and waiting for the answer as Piers Morgan. Like, you're just not going to get a word in edgewise if you're saying something that she doesn't want you to say. Puppet. She's a puppet. And I ain't got to say too much. He broke that all down. But much respect to Vivek. We'll see how well he does in this next year's up-and-coming presidential run. They say he's way behind, but he looks like he's gaining steam. We're going to see how well this man does. And I'm the Big Ugly Man Dog, and that's just my big ugly opinion. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.